I believed my life was simple and honest. For 15 years, I woke up every morning believing I was a husband doing his best and a father doing what fathers are supposed to do. I worked long hours, skipped celebrations, and ignored my own exhaustion because I thought sacrifice was love. My wife and I weren't perfect, but I trusted her completely. I trusted that the life we built together was real. I trusted that loyalty didn't need to be questioned. Looking back now, that trust feels almost naive. At the time, it felt like strength. I believed that stability mattered more than passion, that consistency mattered more than attention. I never imagined that while I was focused on providing a future, the present was quietly slipping away from me. Nothing dramatic warned me. No sudden fights. No obvious signs. Just years passing, routines repeating, and a belief that if nothing was broken on the surface, nothing needed fixing. I didn't know that some betrayals don't arrive loudly. They wait patiently, hiding behind smiles and silence, until the moment they finally surface and make everything before them feel like a lie. That night was supposed to be normal. A family dinner filled with casual jokes, shared food, and familiar laughter. I sat at the table surrounded by people who had known me for years. People who believed they knew my life. Someone joked about how my kids didn't look much like me, and everyone laughed. I laughed too. Then another comment followed, harmless on the surface, about their eyes and features more laughter. But something felt off. I glanced at my wife and noticed her expression change. Her hand stopped moving. Her smile disappeared for just a second, but it was enough. She avoided my eyes for the rest of the evening. No one else noticed, or if they did, they ignored it. That moment stayed with me long after the plates were cleared and everyone went home. That night, I lay awake, replaying that dinner in my head. I told myself I was overthinking. I told myself families joke like that all the time. But a small voice inside me refused to be quiet. It whispered questions I didn't want to hear, and once those questions entered my mind, I couldn't push them back out. From that point on, doubt became a slow poison. It didn't overwhelm me all at once. It worked quietly, changing how I saw everything. I started noticing details I had ignored for years. How my kids shared mannerisms that didn't match mine. How my wife always angled her phone away from me. How intimacy had faded without explanation. I hated myself for thinking these things. I felt guilty for doubting the woman I had trusted for so long. I told myself stress was making me paranoid, but my gut wouldn't let it go. I tried to talk myself out of suspicion, reminding myself of our history, our children, our shared struggles. Still, something felt wrong. Eventually, I reached a point where I needed answers, not reassurance. Ordering the DNA tests was the hardest thing I had ever done. I prayed while clicking the order button. I prayed I was wrong. I prayed this would all end with embarrassment and relief. I didn't know I was praying for a lie to survive. When the envelope arrived, I didn't open it immediately. I sat at the kitchen table staring at it, feeling like my entire life was sealed inside. My hands shook as I finally opened it. I read the results once. Then again, hoping I had misunderstood. 0% probability. For both children, my mind went blank. There was no explosion of emotion, no dramatic reaction, just silence. It felt like something inside me shut down. I sat there for a long time, staring at the words, trying to understand how 15 years could disappear in a single moment. I thought about every memory, every sacrifice, every late night at work. I thought about birthdays, school events, and bedtime stories. None of it vanished, but none of it felt the same anymore. I realized then that betrayal doesn't always come with anger. Sometimes it comes with emptiness, a hollow feeling where your identity used to be. That evening, I placed the papers on the table and waited. When my wife saw them, she didn't ask questions. She knew. Her reaction wasn't anger. It was fear. She cried and confessed everything in pieces, like someone trying to minimize damage. She called it a mistake that went on too long. She said she stayed because I was dependable, because I was safe, because I provided stability. Those words hurt more than the truth itself. I realized I hadn't been loved the way I thought I was. I had been useful. She talked about confusion and regret, but never about respect. As she spoke, I felt strangely calm. The man I used to be was already gone. In his place was someone who understood that loyalty without honesty is meaningless. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult her. I just listened, knowing that no explanation could undo what had been done. Later that night, I stood in my children's doorway watching them sleep. Despite everything, my heart still recognized them as mine. That confused me more than anything else. Love doesn't disappear, just because the truth changes. But I also knew that staying would slowly destroy me. Every smile would remind me of the lie. Every family moment would feel borrowed. I wasn't angry at the children. I wasn't even angry at myself anymore. I was grieving the life I thought I had. I understood then that sometimes love isn't enough to save you. Sometimes staying means losing yourself piece by piece. I didn't want to become a man filled with resentment. I wanted to leave while I still had dignity. I didn't rush my decision. I planned quietly. I gathered evidence. I spoke to a lawyer. I arranged my finances. On the surface, nothing changed. My wife believed I was processing, maybe even forgiving. I wasn't. I was preparing to leave without chaos. One morning, while the house was quiet, I packed a bag and placed the divorce papers on the table. No note. No confrontation. Just the truth. Waiting. I walked out without looking back. Today, my life is quieter. Lonelier, maybe, but peaceful. I learned that betrayal doesn't define you. Staying silent in pain does. Walking away wasn't weakness. It was the first honest decision I had made.